Chapter 1. You are listening at famvetv.info. The sunny day is not very hot. The bright sun makes the small town at the foot of Wulingzong Mountain particularly lively. Selling steamed stuffed buns, selling fried dough sticks, shaving, cicada silk brocade cotton rouge water powder. Although the town is usually very busy, there are really many people in the street these days. People can step on people/s heels when walking. Hawkers also seize the opportunity to occupy the road and set up stalls. There are endless cries. This is a prosperous era in this small town every 3 years. It is a day for those immortals to open their doors and accept their disciples. These people are all here to seek immortality. Some people in the city sighed when they looked at the crowd moving in the street. People in this small town know that there are 5 towering Lingshan mountains not far from here. The mountain has a magnificent momentum. The 5 Lingshan mountains stand around and cover the sun. The sun can shine later than other places. These 5 mountains are fairy mountains, which are inhabited by immortals. From a distance, they are surrounded by immortals, and birds and cranes sing together. Many people go to Xiangshan in order to seek the fate of immortals, but it is strange that these 5 Xiangshan look really, but if they look for it, they can /t be found anyway, which makes people sigh at the great power of immortals. Although it is said that the fairy mountain can /t be found and immortals are rare to see, the fairy mountain has a rule for a long time. The spirit mountain will be opened every 3 years. At that time, immortals will show the way. Anyone who wants to pursue fairy fate and is no more than 18 can come here. If the immortals can recognize it, they will jump into the fairy home and even become an immortal who can call the wind and rain and fly the sword. Fairy fate is hard to meet and can /t be sought. For 3 years, tens of thousands of people come here every time, but only a few dozen people can really be liked by the immortal. It /s not so easy to become an immortal. Obviously, the people of the city have seen it. Many times, many people have come here with ambition and left with a disheartened face. The people of the city take it as fun. Most of the people on the street are well dressed and gorgeous. Many people are in groups, aged 16 or 17. They are all in high spirits. Looking at the magnificent fairy mountain, they seem to have foreseen that they can fly into the earth. These people are young heroes of some nearby family forces. Although many families are mortal forces, they have accumulated rich knowledge and know more about Xiangshan than most mortals. On these 5 fairy mountains, there is a sect of immortal cultivation called 5 Spirit Sect. The 5 Spirit Sect has existed for nearly 1,000 years and is the unique master of this area. The weakest practitioners in it can play between their fingers and kill experts immersed in martial arts in the secular world for decades. For many ordinary families, a fairy can come out of the family. Even the weakest one is a great opportunity to honor the family and ensure the glory of the family for 100 years. So every 3 years, the 5 Lingzong disciples will attract a large number of young heroes here. Brother Wang, it /s early. A well-dressed and handsome young man smiled and looked at a pair of young girls who had just entered the city. Liao. I didn't /t expect you to come too. Young man with a sword in the front of the team greeted him with a smile. It was obvious that they were acquaintances. ISN /t it. It /s not just me. It /s estimated that many people from families thousands of miles around have sent to touch Xianyuan. The young man called Liao curled his lips. He came forward and put Wang Ji on his shoulder. If I say, this trip is probably in vain. It /s not so easy for the immortal to take a fancy to us. If the old man at home didn't /t want me to come, I might as well play checkers at home. Wang Yuan smiled helplessly. Liao grew up with him since childhood. He was smart but too lazy. At this time, a girl behind Wang Yuan disliked Liao and said in a crisp voice. Go, don /t pull my brother. If you don /t make progress. The girl has a beautiful face, a petite and symmetrical figure, and looks smart in a light yellow dress. Liao is not embarrassed at all. He waved his hand and said to the girl, Sister Roland, I am not out of progress, just pursuing difference. You ridicule people every day. Be careful not to marry later. You can /t get married. Die. Wang Rulan angrily stared at Liao with a cheap smile on his face, and wanted to kick a few feet. Well, there are many families here. Don /t lose your manners. Wang Yuan quickly pulled Wang Rulan away. The two wanted to fight as soon as they met from small to large. It /s early, too. Why Don /t we just hang out in the city? Liao suggested. Wang Yuan nodded and walked to the streets of the city. Dijin cat ignores steamed stuffed buns, with thin skin and big filling. Short sand fragrant tofu, smelling and eating, is a good taste in the world. Roast bamboo mouse, 311, 1013. Fragrant baked gluten melts your heart. Immortal /s guide makes it easier for you to be selected by the immortal, as long as 5 texts and 1 book. The exclusive secret of immortal Wulingzong only needs 1 or 2 silver. Don /t missed the fate of the immortal. There was a lot of shouting in the city. From food to secret information about the strategies of the 5 spirits sect, and there were many young people in these stalls. Obviously, the vendors seized the opportunity to make a fortune once every 3 years. Well, your book really makes it easier for me to be selected by immortals, some teenagers couldn't /t help asking. The peddler /s eyes lit up. Looking at the gorgeous clothes of these young people one by one, it was obvious that they were rich owners. These young girls had better earn their money. They were all stupid children belonging to the landlord /s family. As long as they bluff them with something that people in the city have long been used to, the money will be delivered to the door, the peddler hurriedly said, of course. We have been in the city for more than 10 years. We have experienced several times just accepting immortal disciples. You can /t inquire about some doorways except here. The young people stared at each other. Many people fooled by the peddler bought the so-called strategy book. The corners of the peddler /s mouth were almost to his ears. Wang Yuan shook his head when he saw it, *****, even one of Wang Yuan /s cousins was selected into the 5 spiritual sects more than 10 years ago. Although there were few contacts, he knew about the trials of the 5 spiritual sections. These brainless people are really fooled by others and count money for others. Liao naturally knows some things about the Wulingzong trial, but it doesn't /t tell. For these young girls who don't /t know the words of Wulingzong films, these things do have a little effect. As smart as you are, you really have green onions in your nose and make a fool of yourself. Wang Rulan glanced at him, obviously still remembering the hatred that she said she couldn't /t get married just now. Oh, I think you have entered menopause in advance of puberty. You are so angry. Liao is not the main loser. Wang Rulan is biting his teeth to kick him. Wang Yuan is standing between the two people with a bitter smile. He really has no moves at all. Just when the two men were full of gunpowder, a clear cry attracted their attention. Immortal elixir Dolly pill, 1 refreshing, 2 golden spears will not fall, and 3 will live forever. The immortal will use it for trial, and all the villagers agree. Liao was happy on the spot. It was very good. He sold it to the foot of Xianshan mountain. It was a boy who looked only 15 or 16 years old. He was carrying a bamboo basket. The boy /s hair was very long and messy, blocking his appearance. His clothes were a little old, and his voice was still young. Obviously, he was very young. Stretch a thick cloth in front of him and put several small bottles on it. The 3 words, Dolly pill, are written on red paper. The workmanship of the bottle is very rough. If you have to say well, it is that the 3 words, Dolly pill, stop folding like a knife. It is very neat. Hey, What /s your name? Liao went forward and squatted down in front of the youth stall. Wang Yuan followed Wang Rulan. Wang Rulan blinked his big eyes and was very curious. Wang Ji looks as usual. These vendors make money by holding the gimmick of immortal trial. It/s not cheating, but the things they sell are generally of little use. When someone asked, the young man who set up the stall raised his head. A handsome and strange face was revealed from his messy long hair, especially his eyes, which were as deep as the sea and like stars falling from the sea, deep and bright. What a handsome boy. Liao, who has always been quite confident in his appearance, is also somewhat ashamed. Wang Rulan was even more surprised. The boy was really very good looking. His skin was whiter than girls. In addition, he was young and looked like a porcelain doll. For a moment, the maternal love of Wang Rulan /s girls was about to overflow. If they didn't /t worry about many people, they all wanted to hold them up and kiss them directly. Liao also didn't /t expect that someone would be so good looking. For a time, he couldn't /t say the ridicule words he had prepared. The young man looked at several people briefly. His bright eyes flashed slightly and showed a neat white tooth. I/am an ancestral elixir. I only need one pill to make my body full of strength and incarnate into a little Superman. And there are no side effects. It/s the most suitable for the first level of the 5 Lingzong trial. Speaking of this, Liao was stunned. He didn't /t expect that this young man who looked a few years younger than him should know so much about the immortal trial. However, he was not surprised on the surface. The news was not top secret. If the boy was from the city, it would not be strange to know. Before Liao could speak, Wang Rulan said excitedly, "Little brother, how much is this pill? If you call me sister, we may be able to buy more pills." Wang Rulan looked at the young man /s bright eyes and delicate skin, and looked at some old clothes on him. She couldn't /t help moving in her heart. Maybe it was the children of that big family who came out of trouble. That /s not good. I don't /t sell medicine, I don't /t sell myself. I don't /t bargain for 10 liang of silver for a dolly pill. The boy looked at Wang Rulan and subconsciously leaned back. Wang Rulan and the girls behind him looked at him, and their eyes were almost bright, just like the wolf who had been hungry for several days saw a piece of fat. 10 liang silver. Liao jumped up and joked. You know, ordinary people only earn more than 100 liang silver a year. Even if Liao/s family is rich, he can /t take 10 liang silver to buy these dark pills. It/s not certain whether it will cause stomach trouble after eating. Listen to the full novel at famvetv.info, direct link in the description.